And we're live. Welcome everybody to the Fly Boss 180 Mastermind Mondays. Let me see. I hope everyone's having a great, blessed day. And we're going to get this party started right. Kick it off. Because we're here for a good time and not a long time. So I want to go ahead and start off by saying welcome to Mastermind Mondays with your host Fly Boss and the Fly Boss 180 community. Firstly, I like to do what I always do and give thanks to the Most High for giving us this opportunity to come together, for blessing us to see another day, and choosing us to make a difference. And I want to go ahead and start off by saying today wasn't promised to us, but we're chosen because we're here, and that's the most important thing. So we're going to make the most of this moment that we have, and we're going to go ahead and be grateful and rejoice in it. And I want to also give us, today is a very special day to me, myself personally, because the lady, the beautiful queen of mine that carried me and brought me into this world is celebrating a birthday today, and I'm so grateful for that. So I want everyone to take our time today and just drop a happy birthday in the comments, before we get started and get this thing kicked off right. I really appreciate you guys for showing up and coming out and supporting me. And like I say, we're not here for a long time, but we're here for a good time. And today is going to be a good time because we're going to talk about the most important thing that we have, which is leverage. We're going to talk about leveraging your personal and business credit. We're going to continue on from the live that we had a couple weeks ago when we were talking about how to establish your credit and build your profile out, your personal profile out. And we're going to carry on from that, and we're going to talk about what it's all about with how do you fix your credit, how do you establish your credit, how do you build it, and how do you use it to leverage. What can you leverage it for? So we're going to go ahead and get started today, and like I say, this class will be about restoring your credit, building your credit, and leveraging your credit. Because credit is the one thing that this country is built off of. Money doesn't really exist. Money is just a piece of paper to give proof that there's a promise to pay. So I want you guys to go ahead and tune in with me, lock in with me today, and I'm gonna go over some things that I know is gonna be very influential for you guys, and gonna be able to give you guys an opportunity to adjust your lifestyle and do some things to put yourself in a better situation. And like I said, it's going to be all about credit today. Credit is my favorite subject because I cracked the code when it came to credit. I understand what it takes to establish your credit, how to break your credit down and build it back up, and I really understand the ins and outs of it. So I take pride in credit restoration, credit building, and credit maintenance. And that's why I offer a credit education program. I got a done for you program and I got a done with you program. Either or, they're both great. They're both good for you, and I'll talk more about that offer by the end of the class. But right now we're going to dive in and start off with restoring your credit. We're going to first recap what we were doing last week and what we were talking about last week, which was how credit is broken down, and what's the different parts and what makes up a credit score, and we talked about how your payment history is the most important aspect of your credit. Having good payment history has the most influence on your credit because it's 35% of your credit score. Your credit makeup, 35% of it, which is the biggest percentage, is made up of your payment history. How well you pay your accounts on time. And like I mentioned to you in the past, credit is only reported on a 30-day cycle. So you would actually have to go a full 30 days past your due date in order to receive a red flag or a missed payment on your credit report. So if you're actually monitoring and staying on top of your credit like you're supposed to, you should never receive a late payment. Well, I'm not going to say you never should receive a late payment, but it should be hard to receive a late payment because you have a full 30 days past when it's due for you to be able to get that credit payment, that minimum payment paid, so that you can keep 100% credit history. So that's really 60 days to float money because that's really what you're doing when you're using credit, using OPM, other people's money. You really have 60 days before it reports negatively to your profile. So it's very important that you stay on top of your credit payment dates, and your credit reporting dates. While your payment date is important, especially for interest purposes, your payment date, your reporting date is more important than your payment date. So if you pay your payment, if you just say you use OPM, if you pay your payment before that payment date, you don't inquire any interest. So you're just floating the money, free money for 30 days, and you're paying it before that day is due. But if you go past that due date, that's where the interest is incurred. So interest is the cost of your money, and you can avoid that by paying it before that due date. Also, the report date is the end of cycle date, the end of the date that they last take a payment for that credit amount before they report it to the bureaus, the three major bureaus: TransUnion, Experian, Equifax. So before they get ready to report it to those bureaus, it has a report date, an end of cycle date, that you want to make sure that you pay by the end of cycle date more than anything, because that stays on your report for 30 days. And it can't be changed or adjusted for 30 days unless you're in a dispute process and you make them verify the account. And sometimes you can get it up to date prior to those 30 days rolling out. But that's hit or miss because they don't always respond like they're supposed to, which causes you to hold a late payment, which brings your score down, so on and so on. So good practice is to, number one, pay before your payment date. As long as you pay before your payment date, you won't pay any interest on your money. You're just floating the money and paying it before your payment date. Number two, pay it down before your reporting date. And when I say pay it down, get it down below 10% if possible. 30% at minimum, but get your utilization down to at least 10% to get the maximum effectiveness of your credit profile. So you want to pay it down below the 10% each month. And then you can run it up, you can use it, you can max it out, do all of that. Just make sure you pay it down by that payment due date and that payment reporting date. And that leads me into the second most important thing on your credit report and your credit score is your credit utilization. So that's how much you use your credit that's available, your available credit balance. So like I was mentioning to you, if you pay it down before that report date, then what will be reported to your credit profile will be the minimum amount carried. Whatever carry you're carrying, whatever amount you're carrying, it'll be reported to your report. So that's why I say keep it above about 10%, because you can always use that money back up once it reports, because you got 30 days that it's going to stay the same. So pay it down below 10% before the report date, and then once it report, go ahead and max it out, use it as you please. Just be sure to, for one, you don't want to incur any interest or pay any cost for your money. Pay it down before that due date. And for two, make sure that you pay it down before that end of cycle report date so that you can be sure that you get the maximum scores for your credit report each month. And then after utilization, we goes into length of credit. Length of credit is very important because that's them looking at how long you're able to maintain good accounts over a period of time. This is a 15% importance of your credit score. So carrying positive reporting accounts for a period of time is what also will increase your credit score. So you want to try to keep those accounts open as much as possible, as long as possible, reporting well as long as possible. And like when it comes to the restoration process and you restoring your credit and removing negative items or inaccurate items off your report, sometimes it's best not to even bother with some accounts because they got credit age on it that's helping your credit score, and the debts that you may have had or the negative mark that you may have had may not even be affecting your score anymore. So you want to be sure that you analyze your credit report, talk to someone that understands credit, like Fly Boss himself, and be sure that you're removing items that are needed to be removed, and you're not removing items that will hurt your score and not help your score, because all items don't necessarily need to be removed. You just need to take a look and look at what's the benefits, the pros and cons of getting an account removed. But you do want accounts reported accurately on your report, no matter what. You want them as accurate as possible, you know. And then that leads us into the next important thing when it comes to your credit, which is mix of credit. So mix of credit is having different reporting accounts on your credit profile, which are trade lines. Any reporting account is a trade line. It doesn't matter what kind of account it is, but trade lines are reporting accounts that are reported to your credit profile. And you want a good mix of trade lines on your report. You want revolving accounts. You want housing, home accounts. You want also you want loans, credit cards. You want a variety of accounts, because that mix of credit will help increase your credit score, because like I said, mix of credit is 10% of your account. So if you just got all credit cards on your account, you're not maximizing your credit score, because you don't have a good mix of credit. You only have credit cards. So you need to get a diverse portfolio, a diverse profile to maximize your credit. That's why I was saying to you guys that your score is not necessarily the end all be all. Your score is not as important as your profile itself, because like I say, you can have a strong score, a high score, but if your profile don't show that you can manage accounts, then that score is no good to you. And you can have a score that's not that strong, but if you have a good amount of diverse accounts on your report, and they're reporting positively to your account, then you can receive the maximum benefit of having a good mix of credit, you know. And then lastly, but not least, is that you want to be sure that you're not opening up too many new accounts at one time. You want to kind of keep your accounts, your new accounts, down to a minimum of about 3 per 6 months per 180 days. You want to not go above 3, and do your best, unless you're getting ready like to apply for funding. And when you apply for funding, you know, you go through process of applying for several accounts and accepting several amounts from different companies. So in that process, you'll have more than your 3, but that's where you get credit restoration. And those that you didn't receive funding for, or whatever the case may be, you work to get those off of there, you know, so that you can keep your inquiries low, because lenders and everyone will frown upon you having too many inquiries. That will stop you from getting new accounts, because your inquiries are too high. They feel like you're not good with managing money, and you're in the business shopping for money because you don't know how to manage money. So do your best to keep your inquiries at a minimum. And during your restoration process, when you're getting things, disputing items on your report and getting things moved off, and you're building your credit back up, because getting stuff off of it is just one step. The next step is to build it, you know, which is putting new accounts on it. And when you're going through that process, you want to be sure that you're not getting inquiries for these new accounts that you're putting on there. That's why it's good to get with a credit specialist, someone that can help you get accounts onto your profile, trade lines onto your profile, without having any effect or hard inquiry on your credit report. You know, so that's why it's good to have credit specialists, credit restoration companies to work with you. And if they're good at what they do, they will be sure to help you get these trade lines on your account without causing you a hard inquiry. And that's what you want to do. So it's counterproductive to try to restore and build your credit, and you're still hurting it with inquiries, because that's making you have to wait longer, because inquiries stay on your credit report for 2 years. They continue to affect your credit report for 2 years. They don't fall off. So you don't want to wait 2 years to be able to leverage your credit. You want to be able to leverage it as soon as your credit score gets up strong and you maintain good positive reporting credit for a period of time, at least 6 months or more. You know, that's what lenders are going to look for. So, like I said, you want to get with a professional. You want to have someone help you that knows how to get you trade lines that's not going to affect your credit and not going to harm your credit in such a way. You know, so like I said, your score is not as important as your profile itself. So you want to make sure you build out that profile when you're building your credit, building your credit score. Different lenders is going to pull different scoring models. It depends on who you're pulling from, but the most important scoring model that most lenders use is the FICO score. You have your Vantage score and you have your FICO score. Vantage, that's the Credit Karmas and all of those little rinky-dink credit monitoring companies. Don't nobody care about Vantage scores. They really care about your FICO score. That's what they're going to look at. So when you're monitoring your credit, make sure you're looking at a tri-merge FICO report, a 3-bureau FICO report and not a Vantage report. Because Vantage is going to be totally different. You're going to get different results when you're looking at your credit report and looking at your credit score, and then you go apply for lending or something like that, and they tell you your score is totally different. That's because they use a different scoring model. So you got to be sure that you're working on your FICO score, your FICO report. When you're fixing your credit, work on your FICO report. Focus on your tri-merge FICO report. So yeah. The important thing to restoring your credit is to monitor your credit. You only can improve what you track. So if you're not tracking your credit and looking at your credit on a consistent basis, like a weekly basis or whatever, you're not going to be able to improve your credit, and you're going to continue to fight against yourself. So it's best to monitor your credit on a weekly basis. Get you a tri-merge, 3-bureau, FICO reporting, credit monitoring, and keep an eye on things as they're coming off and going onto your credit report, because you can easily correct things once you see them come on there, and you can stop them before they damage your credit score or credit report too much. So you always want to use a FICO 3-bureau reporting account, and you want to repair and restore your credit based on what's reporting on that FICO report. You want to remove all inaccuracies. Anything that's inaccurate on your credit report, you want to get them off. So now when it comes to the dispute process and the disputing of your credit, there's two different processes and methods that you can use to dispute things on your credit. It's the Metro 2 and the consumer law. Now, my favorite is consumer law. Metro 2 is good, but not as good as consumer law. Metro 2 is where you look for the inaccuracies, you make them verify everything that's reporting to your credit report, and anything that's not being verified has to be removed. That's good. That's what you want. You want to go through that process and get those things off of there that's not accurately reporting. But when it comes to consumer law, like I mentioned in previous lives, a lot of our freedoms are being threatened, but the one thing that's consistent that we will always have is law on our side. We have to understand law and use law to our advantage. Consumer law is the one thing that we are able to utilize and be able to make sure that we're being treated fairly out here in the economy, regardless of race, color, creed, or nationality. So you want to get acquainted with consumer law, because consumer law is pretty much telling them, I didn't give you permission to report this, my private information, to the public. So who told you to put this on my credit report? I don't care who told you. I didn't sign off on it. I didn't give you a wet signature and tell you can report it to my credit. So get it off my credit now before I charge you for damaging my credit and causing me to have discrepancies and lose out on different things and causing me to spend more for my money. And so that's where you interject consumer law and use the USC codes that's available to us and get them to remove anything that's on your credit report. It doesn't matter what it is. If you didn't sign off and give them permission to report this to your credit profile, by law they must remove it, because that's your private information, and private information should not be reported on your credit profile. Just like your income is against the law to be reported on your credit profile. They can't report those type of things. So Quickie. If you have a charge off on your credit report, it's against the law for them to still report a charge off on your credit report, for one, because that is considered to be income because it's a charge off. Because they charged the debt off and they turned around and sold the debt for a lesser amount. And the difference is considered your income. That's considered income for you. So if it's a charge off on your report, by law, they're supposed to remove it because that's considered income. And that's a USC code 1681. But we can go more into those codes and different consumer laws that you can utilize to get your credit profile where you want it to be. So with consumer law, no matter what it is, anything that's on your credit report, whether it's an active account or a collection account, can be removed, because if you didn't sign off and give them permission to report it to your public profile, they have to remove it by law. And that's the thing, and that's what we'll be using. That's what I like to use, because it gets things done. When I tell you it gets things done, it gets things done. But after we restore your credit, get all of those negative inaccuracies and inaccurate things off your report, things that's hurting your credit profile, now you have a clean slate. Now it's time to build your credit, and to get a 700, 750 credit score, you need at least about 5 reporting positive accounts, 5 to 6 positive reporting accounts, and you need to maintain them for about 6 months or more for you to start seeing a 700 credit score, and for lenders to look at your credit profile and say, okay, I could trust this person because they're on top of their business. They're managing these accounts. They're doing well. They're getting these accounts paid on time, and it looks like they can handle some more credit. And that's when you're able to pull any kind of and leverage your credit in such a way that you need to. Those are some things that you need to, like I said, see a specialist about. Someone that can help you build out your credit profile so that it's strong enough so that you can leverage that credit to do several different things. You can start and grow a business. You can start a business or grow the existing business that you may already have. You can purchase real estate and leverage the real estate that you able to acquire with a strong credit score. You can refinance existing real estate that you have, do a cash out refinance so that you can have liquid capital to be able to invest and do other things with. You can improve properties that you already have to generate more cash flow in that property. You can partner with others that has decent credit and good credit, and you guys can come together on a project, and both of you guys leverage your credit, because when you got credit, you need less money. The more better credit you got, the less money you need. The more money you have, the less you have to use credit, so on and so on. But you can leverage other partners and other people with money or credit, to help you get a project going, something that can generate you some return on your investment. You can take that credit and, like I said, use that credit to invest into some passive income opportunities that may be available, like investing into some different passive income opportunities, like investing into stocks and stuff like that, and dividend stocks, putting money into that, leveraging funding, personal credit funding, that you may be able to pull with a strong credit, and you can use that money to put into passive income avenues, and I'm real good with the funding. That's something else that I'm very good with, because I have partners that I work with that we specialize in getting you zero interest funding, where you can get funding anywhere, it averages on anywhere from $20K to $50K for the first round, depending on how strong your credit is, depending on if you're just doing personal, if you're doing business, what you're doing. You're able to pull funding, but on an average, for people on the low end, it's always about 20 to 50K that you're able to get in funding. But that 20 to 50K, you can do some things with. That 20 to 50K can change your life and make you never look back again if you structure it correctly. And like I always say, pull the funding when you have a way to invest the funding to bring you a return on the investment. Don't pull the funding to put yourself in a hole. Pull the funding so that you can use the funding to make more money, to put your money to work. Only use OPM when you have a strategy that you want to use the funding for. So like I said, when you establish your credit and you have a strong credit score, 680 or above, you want to go ahead and get ready to try to pull some funding. But first, you want to strategize before it comes to funding. You want to strategize what you're going to do with the money. Know what you're going to do with the money before you even get the money, and then stick to the strategy that you put in place once you get the money. So yeah, so that's the basics of establishing your credit, restoring your credit, building your credit, and leveraging your credit. And like I say, it's best for you to get a specialist or work with someone that knows what they're doing to be able to help you optimize the opportunity of leveraging your credit. And you're here with me. I'm the man for the job. I can help you do it. I actually have a credit restoration education program. Like I said, I have the do it with you or the do it for you program. Either way, they both will work for you. With the do it with you program, it's a pretty much I give you, for one, I give you the Credit Solution Bible, the do-it-yourself Credit Solution Bible that I have, so that you can have all access to all the letters and all the language and everything you need to dispute the credit, dispute your credit profile and get your credit where it needs to be. And then I also have live sessions where I'll go into a group setting and we'll talk about things that you should do or things that you can do to establish your credit, to build your credit, and in the do-it-yourself do-it-with-you program, you get, it's like a 180-day window that I like to do it on. That's why I call this 180, because on a 180-day window, I work with you for 180 days and I go over strategizing with you with building your credit, restoring your credit, and leveraging your credit, whichever one. But in that Done With You program, I also introduce you to resources that you can use to help you take care of the process yourself. Now, this is the cheapest route for you to be able to not only restore your credit, but learn how to maintain your credit, because that's the thing too. It's one thing to fix your credit and everything, but if you don't know what to do after you fix your credit, you will soon return back to where you left from. So Done With You process is me working with you hand in hand, and making sure that you're able to maintain your credit. We're going through it and making sure that you're doing everything that you need to do to fix your credit, get you in a situation where you're able to apply for funding, and then we sit there and make sure that you're where you need to be, and then you decide on where you want to go from there. But that program is available for you. If you're interested in that, just drop interested in the comments and we'll talk about it. I'll get you on my calendar, send you a calendar invite, and we'll go ahead and talk about how does that work, and what kind of investment you need to make in order for us to be able to move forward with the Done With You program. But I also have one for the bosses that like to kick their feet up and want to just sit back and watch the results and see how things go. A Done For You process. Now that's more of an expensive situation, but all we do is I take care of everything for you. Only thing that you have to do is keep your credit monitoring active throughout the 180 days, and we'll do monthly review sessions, and then we'll have 4 strategy sessions throughout that 180 days that will allow you to make sure that we're on task with what your goal is and make sure that we're communicating with how the progress is working. That's a separate program, and with that program I give you 100% money back guarantee. That if in those 180 days your credit score does not go up, I'll refund you 100% of your money. And that allows you to have the security and the trust, and you'll be able to see as things go on how you're improving. Now it's up to you to maintain that and keep it going in an upward trajectory, but that's what we do. And then at the end of the program, we have a final meeting and consultation where we talk about a strategy to you to pull funding and how you will put this funding to work. We go over some ideas, some options, and everything like that. Now all that comes with the Done For You program. A consultation by itself is a $500 expense. So you get that included with the Done For You program. and the done with you program as well, if that's what you want to, because you get one strategy session that can be on restoration, it can be on building, or it can be on leveraging. So you can choose which one you want to have that session on, and we can go ahead and go into whatever it is that you want to go into with that done with you program. But we will still have monthly trainings where I'll teach you how to use AI, how to leverage AI to help you get those letters done, how to send those letters out, what you should be doing, going through your profile, and what you should be looking for on your profile, different things like that. So those are a couple options here for you. But it's up to you. I just want to put this on the table for you. And this week was my week with going over the other part of credit, and giving you some more insights on credit. Now, next week, I'll be going into my favorite and most lucrative real estate investment strategy. This strategy right here is a win-win strategy. You can't lose with this strategy. It's just that simple. There's no losing. You just need the time to invest, the money to invest, and you can get going. And the investments are small with these kind of investments. You can make an investment with as little as $100. It's all about you doing your research, finding the proper property that fits what your budget is, and being able to go ahead and take advantage of that opportunity. So that's what I'll be going into next week, is how to utilize that strategy and how to make a return on your investment, the proper way to do it, and what you're able to do to keep it going. So let me go jump over here in the comments for the last 15 minutes of the live session. I'm going to go over here to the comments and see if I have any questions in here. Let's see. So is it not good to use Credit Karma or Credit Sesame? So using Credit Karma and Credit Sesame is okay. That's good for monitoring purposes. Just take a look, a glance. But like I said, it's going to be very much different from when you're getting ready to go apply for things. When you're going to get a car loan, when you're going to get a mortgage, when you're going to pull some funding and everything like that, it's going to be very different because they use Vantage scores. Vantage scores is not what the lenders or anyone uses. So it's good to have because they're free and you're able to see different things on there and stuff like that. But if you're restoring your credit and you're building your credit, you don't want to use them because, for one, they don't report on a cycle like they're supposed to. So they're not required to do that, but if you get a tri-merge account that you're paying for, they're going to report on a cycle like they're supposed to because that's what's required of them. That's what you're paying them to do. Where Credit Sesame and Credit Karma, they're going to report as they see fit. They may skip a reporting date. They may do whatever they feel because it's free. They can do that, but it's a good way to gauge your profile and get an idea of what's going on with your credit and stuff like that. So I don't shy away from them. I don't say totally ban them because they're a good resource and tool to use. And also you'll see because they monitor your credit as well, and they'll give you a kind of an idea of what you qualify for and what's available to you out there. And I do like some of their recommendations that they give and stuff like that. So I don't count them out. But I don't use them to necessarily restore my credit or build my credit because, like I said, they're limited. They're only going to do so much. Okay, what if you use up the balance but pay the monthly bill on time? So, like I was mentioning to you, you can use up the balance. You can max out your card. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that you pay it before the cycle end date. The cycle end date is the last date of reporting of payment on that trade line. So you want to make sure that you pay it down before the cycle end date. You want to be sure you pay it before the payment due date so that you don't pay any interest on your money. You're just floating money. You see what I'm saying? But if you can't afford to pay before the payment due date, just be sure to pay it down before the cycle end date, which is the report date of that trade line. And if you use it correctly, you can offset payments and cards with each other. by offsetting the due dates on different cards and using this card to pay that card. And once that card's paid, you can use that card to pay this card, and you'll never have to really come out of your pocket for money, any new money. But that takes strategizing. You need to understand what you're doing with that. But like I said, be sure the most important date is the payment due date. Be sure to pay before your payment report date, not the due date, the report date. Yes. So yeah, it's okay. I know they tell you don't max it out, this and that. Yeah, I feel you. But just as long as you pay it down below 10% before that report date is, you're good to go. What other question? Do I have any other questions? You said FICO, right? Yes, FICO score. Your FICO score is what you want to get. I think I pinned some credit. I think I pinned the credit monitoring accounts. I don't know if it's pinning or not. It does what it want to do. But we have credit monitoring accounts that monitors your credit, monitors your FICO score. FICO score is what you want to be looking at when you're preparing for funding and pulling funding and stuff like that. You don't want to be looking into your Vantage score, because that's going to be totally different from what you see on that credit application. So yeah, FICO score is what you want to be monitoring and working with when you come to improving your credit and fixing your credit. So yeah, any more questions in the class? But like I said, next week you guys want to lock in, invite everybody, make sure everybody comes in and tunes in, because this strategy is one that's not known by us, our people in particular. But this strategy is what the banks use. The banks use this strategy. When you give them their money and you make deposits into the banks, they take this strategy and they use your money to use it for this strategy, because you can't lose with this strategy. This is a win-win strategy, and there's not many win-win strategies. There's absolutely zero risk with this strategy. The only thing with this strategy is you have you have to wait for it to mature. You have a window or a waiting time, and that varies. But we'll talk about all of that on next week's class. So be sure that you attend next week's class, because this one you don't want to miss. This one is life-changing. This one here can set you up in such a way that you have a real estate portfolio that can fund your lifestyle and fund your generations to come. And it's not only good for residential real estate, but it's also good for commercial real estate. So this live coming up next week, this is the one. It's not the two. This is the one right here. But like I said, everyone, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I want to check and see if I got any more questions in the comments. But be sure that you come in next week and get this information that can be life-changing for you if you implement it. Because like I said, not many of us know about this strategy. But this strategy is the one. It's a way to get into real estate for pennies on a dollar. It's a way to own real estate for pennies on a dollar. So be sure that you come into this class and be able to learn about this, what's going on. Okay, what it say? Why am I just now getting knowledge of this? Knowledge of what? What are you talking about, lady? Because anything that I'm talking about on here, you aware of. So don't miss me with that rap stuff. You already know. You know exactly what I'm talking about right here. But we'll talk about it in the next class. I ain't gonna give it away right now. We'll talk about it in the next class. So you make sure you be there and be square, so that you can see that you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap this class up. I appreciate you guys for showing up, coming out. It will be available on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, Flyboss 180. Put it in YouTube. You can find it. Go on Amazon, put in Flyboss, go grab my book. It's going to help you with this credit repair stuff. It's going to help you get in a better situation so that you can go ahead and activate on the opportunity of purchasing real estate and being able to start setting your family up for generational wealth with budgeting and all of those things. That book is lucrative. I dropped that stuff in that book for a reason, because it's the things that you need to succeed, you know. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys coming out. It's so beautiful to be alive. And I want you guys to be encouraged and not discouraged, and keep coming back and keep pressing forward. Fly Ish only. Love you. Take care.